welcome. What an exciting time to be in measurement. It's a pleasure to be with the two of you who are pioneering the future of television currency. First, I'd like to introduce Andrea Zapata, who is the EVP and Head of Research, Data and Insights at WarnerMedia Ad Sales. Hi, Andrea.
Hi, so glad to be here. Good to see you.
And next is Travis Scholes, who is the SVP of Advanced Advertising at Paramount. Hi, Travis.
Hello, excited to be here today.
It's great to have you both. TV currency, as we know it, is radically changing right in front of our eyes. In order to get there, leaders like Paramount and Warner have been working diligently to evaluate and implement alternative measurement providers. To start things off, you've both been working for better measurement for years. Can you explain how you're approaching these alternative currencies? Andrea, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure thing. I want to just clarify quickly. I've been with WarnerMedia for about 7 months, and there has been a ton of work being done in the industry around alternative measurement. And I got lucky enough to join when it really started ramping up in a big way. And I would say at WarnerMedia, we have been actually pioneers and innovative when it comes to promoting advanced advertising, advanced sciences, and counting and demonstrating efficacy better. But there was that moment in time when we were literally leaning in and I think having a conversation, not just with one or two potential measurement partners, but actually saying, we're going to start actionizing against not just looking under the hood and understanding methodology, but truly selecting preferred partners where we could bring to market. And at WarnerMedia, we're doing a POC or a test and learn that allows us to bring advertisers, brands, and campaigns, kicking off here in second quarter, where we are running live campaigns against iSpot, ComScore, and VideoAmp specifically. And I often say we don't know what we don't know, but we put a lot of rigor into pressure testing the methodology. So we understood the building blocks and the foundation of what VideoAmp, ComScore, and iSpot bring to the table that could provide us what you actually, Tracey, have said before, higher value metrics or different inputs in which to evaluate campaigns and the investments that advertisers put across the portfolio of WarnerMedia. So yes, it's indeed exciting times. Yeah. We're learning, we're gonna begin to learn a lot more. And this is where sort of it gets really good, I think. But Travis, I know, has been doing much pioneering. So I will send it to you, Travis.
Yeah, thanks, Andrea. You know, it's an interesting question because the work that I think the industry has been doing to push measurement forward and to find alternative measurement pieces, that's a long-standing piece. And I'll talk a little bit about why I think that's so important. But that's almost discrete, I think, from how we think about approaching alternate currency, because measurement and currency are divergent. They're no longer the same thing. Currency is the data that we use to construct a guarantee for ad sales. It's what we use to transact dollars. It's what buyers and sellers use to negotiate the exchange of media. Measurement is what we use to show how a media campaign is benefiting an advertiser, how it's reinforcing their strategy, how it's driving what they ultimately want to accomplish through their marketing campaign. These are very connected because it makes sense that you want to be able to activate a campaign, plan a campaign, guarantee, traffic a campaign, and then measure against a consistent data set with a consistent approach. So our approach really has been to try to be agnostic to this. We want to offer as much choice to the market as possible and really let our clients, the buyers, decide what is the best data set for their campaign. And at Paramount, we want to be able to support that decision so that it doesn't feel more difficult or challenging when they do make that type of decision. So I think that from our perspective, we've been doing a lot of this, especially in the last couple of years on both fronts. Alternative measurement is super important right now because everybody sees the fragmentation in viewership, the emergence of CTV as a platform, the shift in linear viewing patterns. And we need a way to really capture how our audiences are consuming our content across all of the different ways that we can deliver that in a holistic sense. From a currency perspective, Paramount has been really leaning forward to ensure that we are fortified against the upcoming changes in the currency world that are happening, across the board, across all companies. And that's why we've been running these integration projects, and we've been building these capabilities and are activating in market today and guaranteeing against alternate currencies right now.
Super exciting. Well, let's jump into NCAA men's basketball tournaments. And I'm truly impressed how you guys really collaborated on this initiative. So Andrea, first, let's start with you. How did you work together with multiple partners, including iSpot?
Yeah, sure, of course. So I think it was almost a no-brainer. We have a massive tournament where we know that there will be a ton of viewing across screens, in homes, out of home. And it was a real opportunity to move outside of just the live campaign test and learn from a WarnerMedia perspective, but to truly talk about the content and the impact that it had with the advertisers as they surround that tournament. I will say it was no small or easy sort of like endeavor. It sounds like a no-brainer on paper, but getting two major publishers around an event that is as high profile as this, with as many advertisers that are invested, multiple games. I will tell you, it was a testament to our partners. And our partners, yes, with Travis on the publisher side, but also with our measurement partners, full stop. We wanted to make sure that as we were thinking about how to put in a different input that wasn't just ratings are up or ratings are down, because that is the most base and most blunt of ways in which to demonstrate value. We wanted to demonstrate and highlight what each partner brings to the table, and really shine a bright light on what innovation means when it comes to measurement, not transaction. I love when Travis says that, because it is very important that we underscore the difference between measurement and currency. WarnerMedia is really right now in the business of testing the measurement so we can feel really confident in the transaction component. Now, I say that this is no easy feat, but we wanted to shine a light. Speed was really important to us, right? Making sure we had cross-screen components. It is March Madness national men's tournament, is we want to make sure that we were able to look at not a national level, but the regionality, the geo focus of this. And we wanted to make sure that we could get at some of the more interesting consumer components around the programming, but then also marry in the campaign, the impressions, and different types of metrics that we could, again, shine a light on. So I would say, working with Travis and his team on the Paramount side has been really fantastic. And also working with the iSpot team in particular, they really leaned in and almost showed us what we didn't know, what was possible with this type of measurement.
So Travis, give us some key findings or anything that like surprised you on this initiative.
I think to Andrea's point, we were really excited to see new metrics, to see new capabilities and innovative new ways to use data, right? Data collection to look at how both content and advertising are performing in a stage that, one, is huge, right? The basketball tournament has massive viewership, but two, it is a very complex thing to measure, given the joint partnership between Paramount and Warner from a servicing perspective, et cetera. So it was really exciting, I think, to see how well all the partners that we worked with on the measurement side, VideoAmp, ComScore, iSpot, Conviva, really kind of stepped up to the plate and really helped us understand, hey, here are the capabilities, right? Here's what the market looks like today. It's not just measuring pure GRP load. Here's the things that we can do. The things that I think were most surprising to me were the fidelity of data that we've been seeing coming back, especially around how audiences are consuming content across platform, where they're choosing to consume content, what it means for an audience to consume content on multiple platforms in general. And I think a lot of those pieces give a new level of insight, not only into how many eyeballs showed up, but also why, and how can we position this, and how can we understand how premium content, I mean, March Madness, the NCAA men's basketball tournament is one of the most premium contexts there is. How can people consume that through all of the different premium distribution points that they can enjoy content from Paramount or from Warner? And how does that vary? I mean, I think Andrea hit it, right? There's a lot of things. How is it regional? How are folks moving across screen? How are folks moving throughout the tournament? And I think a lot of those insights were amazing. We're super excited to be combing through it all right now to build the final report, which we will shortly release so that everybody can see how this went. But I mean, the thing that I think was most surprising to me was how far the industry has come from a measurement innovation standpoint.
Oh, it's super exciting. Let's go deeper on Conviva. So, and how you use their streaming data to get the complete picture. You know, how important was this? How critical? You know, Andrea, you want to answer that one?
Yeah, absolutely. So I keep joking, it's all powered by Conviva. What's interesting is that when you look at the viewer consumption and you think about how the data is collected, right? So all of the measurement partners are in some way, shape, or form working with set-top box or ACR data, right? And they're also able to capture digital, but what Conviva can do if they have a stream ID is to actually truly connect the digital streaming component to the linear component in a very fast turnaround. They make it very easy, turnkey, and able to, again, underscore that utility of speed. And so for us, this was part of the learning process, right? So back to Travis's point of, yes, there's great fidelity and there's new metrics, but that doesn't mean that all of this stuff just comes together with the flip of a switch, right? I am a researcher, and I remember when people would be like, can't you just give me the data? And they're like, oh, I wish I could, right? Like, I wish I could press that button. But Conviva was the one where I was like, they're pressing the button and they're making it much easier for us to get access to the data and the insights in a way that I think we'd be hard pressed to do if we didn't have them as part of the mix. And so having that partnership across all interoperability is the name of the game, right? In order for them to actually be able to help us steward through and gather those insights was really important.
It's super exciting. I mean, just to see the level of partnership and interoperability is super exciting. And let's, you know, end on the question about speed. How important was speed? And talk to us about how quickly you were starting to see results. Travis, you want to take that one?
Yeah, I mean, we were seeing results across of our partners within in a time frame that we had previously was impossible. And I think to Andrea's point, right, a lot of this, I give credit to Conviva, I give credit to their partnership with iSpot, to their partnership with VideoInf, with ComScore, because, you know, anyone that's talked to me about this space has knows that I kind of very quickly move from methodology and intent and benefits to, and by the way, let's talk about operations and infrastructure and piping, because it ends up, that matters so much, right? We have to be able to actually connect these dots. And when I talk about how far along I think measurement has come, that's a huge piece of it.
Yeah.
You know, overnights are a thing that a lot of folks considered the gold standard of fast turn, and they were estimates. And we're seeing actualized data coming through 2-3 days after the fact, which I think is an amazing evolution here. And it speaks to as much as an advancement on the measurement and the methodology in the innovation space as it does the evolution of the infrastructure that's powering that.
And it's the ads too.
It's not
just
ads. And I think that's the thing. I hate to jump in here, but I want to say you can't take none of this for granted, because it wasn't that long ago when all we had was the overnight, right? And it was just about a piece of content, which the content's vitally important, but it is a proxy to reaching a customer set. And now we were asking questions like, can I actually talk about, you know, who was in the market for an auto and happened to be watching this great content? Because you know what, that matters to our advertisers, right? And so this is game changing in so many ways. And I want to underscore, I am a researcher. I remember how valuable the overnight was. I was so jealous when it started becoming, you know, at the local market level. And now here we are talking about not just the nuance of a program and an overnight, but we're really thinking about much more sophisticated inputs. And it's because of the power of innovation and technology.
Oh my God, it's such an exciting time. I can feel it coming from both of you, like how powerful this was. So let's jump to Upfronts and what you're learning with all the work you guys have done together, and for the years of work, what you're going to do differently in this year's Upfronts, and how brands and agencies what we think brands and agencies are going to see from both Warner and Paramount. Andrea, you want to take that one first?
Sure. So the Upfronts are right around the corner, and what I think is really important here is that as fast as we all want to move, as quickly as I think that that it's not because the innovation isn't already there, but there are many more things that are necessary for us to contemplate and make sure are equally as ready as the measurement innovation to make it ready for currency. And so from a WarnerMedia perspective, we've been knee deep with agencies and our partners. And we've heard from them where some are ready to go ASAP. Let's go yesterday. Some are saying, you know what, we don't know what we don't know. And we're like, same. And others are like, you know what, let's carve off a piece of our investment where we know that we can confidently utilize different measurement for currency and transaction against advanced audiences, right? These clients are already leaned into DDL. We are looking at the promise of national addressable, and this would be a really good opportunity for us to use different currency to measure, again, different KPIs. So at WarnerMedia, this is still, though, very early days. We have stewardship. We have to think about, again, all the piping that I know Travis will probably bring up, but it is so vitally important. It goes back to planning, forecasting, targeting, optimizing, reporting, measurement, measuring, and then transacting. And not all of those are where they need to be in order for us to go wide scale in the way that I think in our hearts of hearts we want to, but it wouldn't be prudent.
Yeah. Travis, I'm sure you'll add to that, but also I want to ask the question about transacting on demos versus advanced audiences. Do we think we're going to see a move towards more advanced with this better measurement?
We've been seeing a move towards transacting against advanced audiences for the last decade. I think that it's really been picking up steam, especially in the past few years, as folks realize, well, one, there's been a massive improvement in data availability and data application by the buy side. There have been massive investments in understanding how buyers can leverage data for the ultimate advertisers and really drive forward their strategy. And that matriculates in advanced audience buying, because all of a sudden you want to be able to really harness all of those data investments and then activate in that fashion. And that's been a huge driver. The measurement piece is then connected to that, right? It's the next natural extension. How can we use new data and new methodology to continue to reinforce the power of these existing data investments? And I expect that we'll see an acceleration this year in the upfront of audience buying, most definitely. I think that the industry has been moving that way, and it's feeling normalized, and it's feeling not different than how people have done it in the past. People know how to buy that way, and they know how those campaigns will work. And I think that people are going to be starting to lean into that as a huge piece of their core strategy. From a multi-currency perspective in the upfront, this is going to be a huge topic for Paramount. We're ready to go. So we've been activating for 2 quarters now against VideoAmp, against ComScore, against some of these other currencies that we do support. All of the piping, right? We've sort of solved that problem on the Paramount side. The thing that I think we're really excited for this upfront is for our buyers to kind of lean in and work with us on this so that we can understand how this works together, and we can make alternate currency feel like audiences where it's just normalized, right? Yeah. This is something that we can just do. It doesn't feel different. It doesn't feel unusual. This is just the way that we can better align to the advertiser's ultimate end strategy.
Oh my God, that's just so exciting. So let's do 2 last questions, kind of rapid fire if we can. So, a lot of change is happening. And I'm curious, when we talk about these alternative currencies, do we see this as like a 1 to 2 year transition, or more like a 3 to 5 year, to get really the majority of the marketplace on an alternative currency? So, Andrea, why don't we start with you? Is it a shorter term or a longer term?
I don't like it, but it's going to be a longer term. As much as I've always tried to say, how do we push? How do we push? How do we push? And Travis, you go with your 1 to 2. I've got my money on that too.
Yeah, I fully disagree. I think it's going to be a 1 to 2. It's going to be a much faster play, and that's not necessarily because of the speed that the new kind of ecosystem is evolving, the new multi-currency players, but also the fact that in 2 years measurement changes writ large. Yeah. The incumbent measurement provider is changing their data sets, their entire methodology. A lot of the metrics that we've been trading on for decades are about to go away. And at that point, the industry is, changed fundamentally from a measurement and a currency standpoint. That'll be a forcing function for, I think, everyone to stand around and say, hey, well, it's all different anyway. Which of these partners, which of these data sets, which of these approaches actually can fit for me? Because the inertia of, well, I know how it works with the incumbent will be gone.
Yep. Very exciting. Lots of change coming. Okay, so last question. What is the most important thing or piece of advice you could give to brands and agencies, what they can do right now to prepare for these changes ahead? Travis, you want to start that one?
Let's get started. Let's carve off some of that investment. Let's start doing this together. Let's know what this looks like. If we're on a 2-year time horizon, the time to get started is now.
Okay, carve off some investment. Andrea?
Same. And keep the dialogue open. The more that we can have the kind of dialogue that we're having right now between publishers, between the agencies, it will help us actually get to that 1 to 2 year sort of goal. And I think that that is where we are right now. And what's been so wonderful is having the real conversations with the measurement partners like iSpot, who have been so open with how they're doing things. And it's refreshing. So the dialogue must continue, but the actionizing of it is absolutely crucial.
Well, thank you both for sharing your perspective. Oh my gosh, what an exciting time this is. And it's been a pleasure to be with 2 industry leading people who are trying to push this marketplace forward. And I think that wraps it up.